Okay, again, just wanted to touch for a minute on the need for control and what we can do to give them a better sense of control. And it's interesting because a research was done in 2007 that was going to examine the attitudes and anxieties of our elders, of our nation's elderly. And the number one thing they feared most was a lack of independence. They feared it more than death. They feared it more than the death of a spouse or running out of finances or something. The number one fear was a loss of independence. And as we've been mentioning, what's probably the main thing they're going to lose as they age, but certainly if they have to move to another environment, they're losing a lot of their independence. So again, just to be aware that, I know it's frustrating for families and everything, but try to put yourself in their shoes. They are recognizing quite often their greatest fear. So we need to show them a lot of grace, a lot of patience, and a lot of grace. And so that means if you are caregivers, family members, neighbors, whatever, that are trying to help this senior, you, as I said earlier, you need support too. This is tough. This is not for sissies, so you need to be able to get some support as well. It's really important. Again, listening is key, and I talked a lot about that. I won't get into it too much, but again, just take time to listen. And it sounds so simple, but I'm not sure we're always great at it. It's very tempting to jump in and give your opinion, especially when you're right. Darn it. But we do, even when we are right and we know what's right, we still need to listen. Encourage the senior who's moving to define, if they're able to define what they want that next community to look like. What's the most important thing to them? Especially if we're talking about like assisted living or an adult foster care home or something. It's true with nursing homes too, but I think especially with those. Is it important that they are able to go on outings in the community? Is it really important to them that they've got a great beauty shop? Because boy, their hair is right up there. They need to make sure it's really nice. Are the activity programs, is that especially important? Is the food the most important thing? Do they want a bigger room themselves, or would they be okay with a smaller room but a much larger community room or a family room so that when their guests do come, they would have a place to entertain? So we don't want to put our assumptions in there and assume what it is that they want. As much as possible, again, ask them some of those specific questions. What neighborhood do they want it to be in? It's amazing, a lot of times our seniors want to stick in the community, in that neighborhood that they've lived for many years, even though we might think, it's not the best neighborhood. But if that's where they feel comfortable, that's valuable to them. Take the time to discover, again, what's really important to them, too, about what they bring in to the home. And I mentioned that a little bit. But going along with what Lisa said, I read about a gentleman who was older and had to move into a facility, and he was blind. So his family made the assumption, all these volumes of books that he absolutely adores, he can't read them anymore. We need to get rid of them. So they moved him into a facility without any of those books. And then they couldn't quite figure out why he was so depressed. Well, obviously, we couldn't move all these volumes of books in there, but we could have moved 5 or 10 in there. Because again, maybe it's that smell, maybe it's the feel of the books, and knowing that they're there, it could have brought him comfort. So, we might have to adapt things, but try as much as possible to find out what really is meaningful to them. And buttons, who'd have thunk it? Buttons made it that happy? It is fantastic to see the results of that. It's really exciting. Those are a few of the steps we can take to help them feel a sense of control. I wanted to take just a moment to talk about the common pitfalls when we do make a move with a loved one. And we have a good handout on this as well. Pitfall number 1, rushing through the moving process in the days leading up to it and then the days that following. Again, just getting so caught up in all the logistics of everything that you don't really slow down and listen to what that senior, that older person has left behind. And so again, it's not just leading up to it, not the day of the move, but there's going to be a period of adjustment. It's not uncommon that it will take a few months or even several months. But, and I worked in a nursing home and assisted living for about 10 years. and am back in one now here at Christian Care. And it was not uncommon that, you know, those first couple months are real tough. But then, gosh darn, it can just be amazing. They actually will start to thrive. Sometimes the families would say, okay, you need to understand this. She's not a social butterfly. She doesn't like to socialize. Don't bug her, please. Just kind of let her be. Okay, just let her be. Don't bother her. Well, in a nursing home especially, we have to go encourage. We have to do a lot of encouraging. And I'll be darned if after a couple of months, she literally was, you know, Miss Popular of the place. I mean, she just blossomed. And so that's a good reminder that, again, there's a period of adjustment. The sticky point there is sometimes when, you know, a few months or several months have passed and they really do start to blossom and they're doing great, you start to think, I think we moved her too soon. I think maybe we made a mistake here. No, that means you did an awesome job. And they're right where they need to be. When they're getting their medications properly, they're eating properly, they're sleeping hopefully well, they're getting that socialization and mental and physical stimulation, everything's just clicking. And so we would hope to see them maybe get a little bit better after that period of adjustment. So again, just say, wow, you did a good job.
Also, something that you can do is give them something to look forward to. You know, we're going to have, our family's going to come in on Saturday and we're going to have a little dessert here in the lounge. So something that they can hang their hat on so that they don't feel like they're just being dropped off and abandoned. That's a difficult feeling. And so we want to make them sure that you're going to be back and that you are participating in their life here. Encourage them to get involved. It helps to be able to give staff some cues. Help the staff get to know your loved one, to learn their routines. Are they an early morning riser and up and ready for coffee and breakfast right away? Or do they like to sleep in until 9:30 and then maybe just have some juice and cold cereal in our lounge? We need to know those things because for somebody that's used to sleeping in till 9:30 and 10, trying to drag them out of bed at 7:30 for an 8 a.m. hot breakfast is cruel and unusual punishment. And we don't want to do that to them. Don't help us get off to a bad start that way. Do they take their bath in the morning or the evening? What activities do they enjoy? What can you think of that will just make them light up? Is it children around? Is it singing? What is it that keeps them going and keeps them interested? Because the staff can cue into those things. One of the other things I always love to see in rooms, and Sue will probably allude to this too, but pictures. We have had several people who have taken a collage of pictures and just put pictures from different eras in their life. We had one gentleman that could not remember what he had for breakfast that day, could not tell us much, but when I found out from the pictures that he used to raise homing pigeons and ask him a question about that, his face changed. He told me all the way he trained them, where he flew his races, all of those things. So the pictures can give cues to staff as to what kinds of questions to ask. What were their interests, what did they participate in, and that helps us to interact with them more quickly.